When pain becomes purpose, the alchemy of grief. Have you ever noticed how we're taught to run from pain, to avoid it at all costs? We're conditioned to believe that happiness is the only acceptable emotional state, and anything else means something's wrong with us. But what if I told you that your deepest pain might actually be the doorway to your greatest purpose? I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Zuri Star, a woman whose journey through unimaginable grief transformed not only her life, but the lives of countless others. Zuri isn't just an empowerment coach, she's a revolutionary force challenging everything we think we know about healing, grief, and human potential. Her work has created ripples of transformation across communities that have historically been denied access to culturally relevant healing spaces. She stands as living proof that our darkest moments can become our most powerful catalysts. 4 years ago, Zuri experienced what she calls her dark night of the soul when she lost her 19-year-old son. In that moment, her world shattered into a million pieces. But instead of being destroyed by her grief, she made a choice that would alter the trajectory of her life forever. She chose transformation. Now, let's be clear. This isn't one of those toxic positivity stories where someone pretends their pain away with affirmations and forced smiles. No, what Zuri did was much braver, much more profound. She looked directly at her grief and asked, what if this pain isn't just meant to break me? What if it's meant to remake me? That question, that singular, courageous question, became the foundation of what would eventually become the Me I Never Knew trademark life coaching services, where Zuri now guides others through their own journeys of transformation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The truth is, most of us have been sold a dangerous lie about grief. We're told that healing means getting back to normal, that success means returning to who we were before tragedy struck. What if that's completely backward? What if true healing isn't about going back at all, but about moving forward into becoming someone you never knew existed within you? This is what Zuri discovered. Through her work with shadow integration, the process of examining and embracing even the darkest parts of our experiences, she began to uncover dimensions of herself that had been dormant, waiting for the exact catalyst that would awaken them. It's a bit like those Japanese pottery masters who practice kintsuga, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. They don't try to hide the cracks, they highlight them, they celebrate them, because those golden seams of repair become the most beautiful part of the piece. That's what Zuri did with her life, and that's what she now teaches others to do. Grief, she told me during our interview, is not just an end, it's a beginning. It's not just a closing door, but an opening one. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard this perspective, part of me wanted to reject it. It seemed too convenient, too neat, too much like trying to put a positive spin on something inherently devastating. But as Zuri shared more of her journey, I realized something profound. This wasn't about minimizing pain, it was about maximizing meaning. In 2020, Zuri took her healing philosophy beyond individual coaching and into youth camps focused on helping young people rise above adversity. Many of these youth faced systemic barriers, grief over lost opportunities or family members, lack of positive role models within their communities. What made these initiatives different was that they weren't based on abstract theories or well meaning but disconnected advice. They were rooted in lived experience. Zuri recruited coaches and volunteers who openly shared stories about overcoming hardship through mindset shifts and holistic practices. One young participant later wrote, for the first time, I've met adults who didn't pretend to have it all figured out. They showed us their scars and then showed us how they learned to walk with them. That's the difference between sympathy and empathy, isn't it? Sympathy stands at a distance and says, I'm sorry for your pain. Empathy sits beside you in the darkness and says, I know this place. I've been here too, and I can show you a path forward. This is what makes Zuri's approach so powerful. It's not theoretical, it's embodied. Speaking of embodiment, in May 2025, Zuri hosted an event called Move and Mingle, an outdoor fitness gathering specifically designed for beginners seeking gentle reentry into movement after trauma or during transition periods. Now, you might wonder what physical movement has to do with grief. Everything, as it turns out. Many of the attendees struggled with physical inactivity directly linked to emotional blocks, unresolved grief, or anxiety about being seen during vulnerable times. By blending mindful movement practices with group discussions centered on honoring each person's unique story, Zuri created a space where healing could happen on multiple levels simultaneously. One participant described the experience as finally remembering I have a body after months of feeling like a ghost. This highlights another crucial aspect of Zuri's philosophy. True healing integrates mind, body, and spirit. It's not enough to process grief intellectually. It must move through the body, it must touch the spirit. As Black women, this holistic approach to healing is particularly significant. Too often, our pain is dismissed, minimized, or medicalized without addressing the full spectrum of our experience. Zuri's work creates safe spaces where Black professionals and community members can honor their grief while actively pursuing growth. This is revolutionary in a culture that often expects Black women to be perpetually strong, perpetually resilient, perpetually okay. But here's the truth: strength isn't the absence of pain, it's the courage to transform it. I'm reminded of Maya Angelou's words. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. This is the essence of what Zuri teaches. It's not about avoiding the defeats, it's about discovering who you become when you rise from them. And this brings me to perhaps the most powerful aspect of Zuri's message. Your pain holds wisdom that can serve others. Think about that for a moment. The very experiences that have caused you the most suffering might be the exact tools you need to help someone else find their way through darkness. This isn't about toxic martyrdom or glorifying suffering. It's about recognizing that when you transform pain into purpose, you create meaning that extends far beyond yourself. Zuri's coaching programs now support individuals at all stages, from those facing death to those struggling simply to truly live. Her work has broadened access within Black communities to culturally relevant healing resources that address both emotional wounds and future aspirations. But what does this mean for you sitting here today? It means that whatever you're going through right now, whatever loss, whatever heartbreak, whatever disappointment, it doesn't have to be just something that happened to you. It can be something that happens for you, not in some simplistic, everything happens for a reason way, but in the profound recognition that you get to decide what meaning you make from your experiences. You get to decide whether your pain defines you or refines you. You get to decide whether your grief becomes a prison or a portal. I want to offer you a simple but powerful practice that Zuri shared during our interview. The next time you face a painful memory or current challenge, instead of pushing it away, ask yourself, what wisdom might this hold? How might this experience evolve me rather than diminish me? Journal about it, sit with it, and if needed, reach out for support. Because while this journey is deeply personal, It doesn't have to be solitary. As Zuri often tells her clients, healing happens in community. Transformation happens in community. We were never meant to do this alone. I believe we're standing at a critical moment in our collective understanding of grief and healing. For too long, we've operated under the assumption that pain is something to be avoided at all costs, that grief is something to get over, that healing means returning to who we were before. What if we've had it backward all this time? What if our wounds aren't just injuries to recover from, but doorways to walk through? What if our grief isn't just about what we've lost, but about what we might become? These are the questions that Zuri Star's journey invites us to consider. And they're questions that might just change everything about how we approach our pain, our purpose, and our potential. So today, I challenge you to do something radical. Embrace the possibility that your deepest wound might become your greatest gift to the world. Look at your pain not as a burden to carry, but as a bridge to cross, leading you to wisdom, purpose, and connection you couldn't have discovered any other way. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be unbroken. It needs more people who have transformed their brokenness into something beautiful and useful. People like Zuri, people perhaps like you. Your pain matters, your healing matters, and the unique wisdom you gain through that process that matters most of all, because someone out there needs exactly what only you can give: the light that comes from having walked through darkness and emerged not unchained, but transformed. Will you accept the invitation that your pain offers? Will you allow yourself to become the person you never knew was waiting on the other side of grief? The choice, as always, is yours. But know this: when you choose transformation, you don't just change your own life, you create ripples that might just change the world. Thank you.